You are listening to the BBNI podcast, journeys of faith, leadership and life.
Welcome to the BBNI podcast. I'm Deborah Pearce, one of the engagement officers here at BBNI, and today I'm delighted to have Karen and Alan from 24th Belfast. Welcome to the studio today.
Hi.
Morning. How's your morning been so far?
Well, apart from the rain,
I
typical school
know,
holidays.
School holidays and the rain starts, a nightmare. Welcome. You're
Thank
both
you.
obviously BB officers at 24th Belfast. I'll let you sort of explain a wee bit about yourselves, who you are, your journey. So we'll start with Alan, just if you want to tell us who Alan is.
Yep. Hi, my name is Alan Galbraith. I'm captain of the 24th Belfast. I am married to Julie and I have two boys, Matthew who's 16 and Sam who's 13. And so both boys are part of our company.
Well. Brilliant.
I became a Christian when I was 11 and I just realised I needed my sins forgiven.
Yeah.
And so do you want me to say a wee bit about my
Oh,
BB journey?
absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, just chat about
I
it.
started Anchor Boys for one night in P1.
Okay.
And then quickly left after that one night and went and joined the Scouts on the Thursday.
Say no more.
So I know, so 7 years in the wilderness.
Okay.
Then when I was in second year, one of my friends joined the 30th.
Okay.
The 30th Belfast, and he said to me, "You want to come along to join the 30th? There's a football team, and one of the officers is a big Linfield fan."
Okay.
And I was watching Linfield at the
Right,
time.
okay.
So that night, the next Friday night, I went along, and the first person who met me at the door was the officer Barkley, who was a Linfield fan.
Brilliant.
And so then 7 years in the 30th.
30th.
And then 10 years ago, I started as an officer in the 24th.
Okay.
I'd been asked a number of times to be an officer, and then I was standing outside Anchor Boys one night, and I realised there are other people looking after my son.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time for me to step up
To get involved.
and become an officer as well.
There you go.
And I'm also Karen's brother-in-law.
Oh, there you go. A few memory stories to share.
Wow, yeah.
So how long have you been captain then? You said you were
This
captain.
is just finished my fourth year as captain.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And Karen, then you're going to tell us who
So
you
I'm
are?
Karen Reid. I'm head of business studies in a big boys' school in the centre of
Okay.
town, and I've been involved in BB for what feels like my whole life.
Your whole life, yeah.
So my dad was a previous captain of our
Okay.
company. So when I was
Brilliant.
primary school age, he was captain of our company. And then when I was in my late teens, I ended up being brought into Anchor Boys under the auspices of helping them out with a wee bit of playing the piano, which I don't even do well.
Okay.
And don't even do anymore. And then I was actually a leader in the Rainbow Guides at that stage as well,
Okay.
and did both for a little while, and then gave up Rainbows and started in Anchor Boys, and so I'm there about 30 years.
I know,
So
quite a lot
it's a
of
long
leaders will come
time.
in just to help, and then
Yeah,
once you're there, you just love it
once
so
you're
much,
there,
you don't want to go.
haven't gone away. So I'm not married, I've no children. I've just got 3 spoiled nephews instead.
Absolutely.
So my Monday nights for as long as I can remember have been down at Bloomfield. Yeah.
Brilliant. Look, that's fantastic. And Alan, then, so volunteering can be challenging, and we're all juggling additional demands on our time. What motivates you to keep going?
I think I might be biased here, but I think there's no better organisation for boys than BB.
Yeah.
I think with the fun and the faith and the fellowship of sports,
Yeah.
it really works, and it's great that it has all those things in just the one place. I think there's nowhere the better to share your Christian faith and to talk about Jesus than in BB. I also think in BB there's so much for the boys, for them and their own personal development. It could be the music, it could be the sports, it could be the badge classes, it could be just sitting around having a laugh with their friends, and everything from the trips and the outings that occur. But there's also all those opportunities that BB have with competitions for Northern Ireland and the battalions. There's a President's Badge, there's the King's Badge. I just think there's so many opportunities for the boys to avail of.
Yeah, there's so much,
that BB has so much to offer for the boys that I think when you add all those things together, it's important just to be a part of an organisation.
Yeah.
Just like that.
I think it's a variety as well. So it's not just if a boy's maybe not into football, but there's other things that they can get involved in. It's not just all about football.
Yeah,
So there's lots
definitely.
of other badges and competitions and things, which is great.
Yeah.
And a wide variety, as you say. Brilliant. What excites you about BB, Karen?
Well, there must be something
There
because
must
I'm
be
there that
something
long.
there. 30
So
years.
I guess, I mean, I teach mostly A-level students, so I teach at the opposite extreme of them, what my Monday nights are at Anchor Boys, and I love the fact that there is that complete difference between, because I think some people have said to me, you teach all boys and then you're involved in BB and it's not all very much the same, but obviously the age difference means that it's not, and I think whenever you see P1s coming in and nervous and excited, and then you see them leave P4 confident and have the way they've developed their skills and everything, I think that's really exciting, and just the fun that we're able to have with them, whether that is I'll come to some of the favourite things in it later on, but just watching them grow in confidence in that journey that they're on. I know. And I think as well, the other thing that excites me about BB is just the camaraderie that there is among officers, and the fact that we feel, although I've got my team in Anchor Boys, we're very much part of the bigger team within the 24th, and we've sort of very much focused on the fact that we are a family as a company, and I think we feel that, and I certainly feel it, and so that sort of element of camaraderie, as well as them being part of a bigger organisation as well, is really important. And I think the other thing that excites me is that BB brings boys into our church who otherwise wouldn't come in.
Come into church,
and therefore we've got that opportunity to share in something which, we've got boys coming through because their dads came through, and therefore even though you may not see them on a Sunday morning, it obviously meant enough to them that they want their own children, and I think that's a really exciting opportunity to bring people just into the presence of God.
Absolutely. It's such a great opportunity as well. And you say even the leaders just to be there even to support each other, all stuff goes on in our lives, and, and sometimes just having that sort of support from other leaders is fantastic as well. Okay, so Alan, as a leader, you must see the challenges that face young people today. How do you feel BB or we are able to help them?
I think one of the strengths of BB as an organisation is that it takes boys from P1 all the way up until they finish school. And one of the nice things is being able just to be that one constant with the boys, that where they change school, they change different clubs and organisations and sports teams, but yet BB is that one constant throughout the whole thing. Definitely. And it sort of really hits home that when we discharge boys after our parents' surprise night, one of the comments that they usually say is, what are we going to do on our Monday nights now that we've finished BB, because they've been part of it for 14 years. I think also there's opportunity with badge classes and Bible class to address some of those challenges for the boys today, and also with some of the groups that BBNI partner with, that we can bring them in as well to talk about some of those challenges. I think also as a captain sometimes with BB, you get caught up in your programme and your activities, but at times the boys just need some downtime. They need that time of where they can sit and chat and have a laugh with their mates, and those challenges that they face outside school just go away as well. And I suppose finally, I was at an elders conference, and the guy taking the conference said, your job as a leader is to help young people to grow old. And I think as officers, we have a responsibility for those boys who are coming through to model, to be an example of how we live our Christian lives in front of them, so that if nothing else, they see us, they hear us, and as we face our challenges, we live our lives in front of them, and we are those role models as such to them. I know, and some of them maybe don't have a role model in their lives, so they're looking up to the BB officers to model that and just love and care for them and show them, which is fantastic. Thank you. So Karen, what has been your best BB night ever and why? I'm sure there's been lots. But
well, I haven't got a straight answer for you, I'm afraid. No so I was trying to think about it, and I thought, there's not one particular night that I think is. I think when you've been doing it so long, it's hard to pick something out. So I've got a few different categories just of nights for you. Brilliant. So, I think just the nights when we're having fun. It are just great, and I can think of certainly a few occasions whenever we've maybe brought some of the companies that have animals and things come in, and the excitement on the boys' faces, and the fact that they're so much braver than the leaders are. Absolutely, so that's been really fun. I have brought some of the boys from school to help with training nights for some of the sports as well. I've actually really enjoyed seeing sort of those two worlds collide a little bit, and also the opportunity it's given me even to talk about BB then in school. Brilliant. And they go back in and talk about having been there, and that's been really good as well. And I think from the Anchor Boys perspective, the occasions whenever our whole company comes together would stand out as being important nights. And I think whenever you see the wee ones looking up to the bigger ones, and then even the fact that we've got company section boys helping us, and in fact, at our Parents and Prize night just last week, one of the boys that helps us won a few awards, and the Anchor Boys were just so excited that he had won the awards. And I mean, it was really obvious, they were really cheering for him. And that was just so nice to see those relationships that are being built. And I think just seeing boys move through the company is what excites me. Football team were in the national finals there recently, and the group of us went down to watch, and just felt so proud of the boys who have gone through from Anchor Boys and are now playing at that level. And then I suppose when you've been there a long time, you've been through a few different anniversary, and I really have enjoyed all the anniversary events because
special
I think whenever you bring people back who haven't been there, and you hear these grown men talking about their memories of what they did in BB. I think it also brings home to you a wee bit how important it is what you're doing, and it's a real encouragement to keep doing what you're doing, because these are people years and years later that are still talking about some of those things, and that's a real encouragement. So I don't think I have a favourite night of BB. I think it's just a collection of really special memories.
It's those memories as well, as you say, like even those boys that have come through and now are bringing their own children back because they had such great memories of BB, and it's continuing, isn't it?
And it's just, whenever I think with Anchor Boys we get it easy, because no matter what we organise, I can't remember a night that has gone really badly, because they seem to enjoy whether it's basic colouring in, whether it's craft, whether it's the big boys coming to do something, all of that just seems to bring enjoyment, and that's important.
And it makes it a lot easier, and you just want to be there because you just it's brilliant. I love it. That's fantastic. Brilliant. Alan, have you any BB highlights? I'm sure you've lots.
I was going to say, when I read the question, I originally thought one highlight, but I'm going to change it to the many highlights.
Yes, I'm sure there's many.
Like many men at my age, I love playing BB football. So when I was at the 30th, I was part of a successful football team.
Brilliant.
And I regularly think back to those days and just the good memories and the many good friends that I made, and just bumping into those guys and still talking about it years later. So that's certainly one of the highlights, and I suppose it's nearly been surpassed over the last few weeks. As Karen mentioned, our company section team won the NI finals. Yeah, brilliant. And so that was just a brilliant night. Yeah, fantastic. We turned up that night just thinking we were going just to play and make up the numbers and to come away and win it. It was fantastic. It was a fabulous night for us. And then a few weeks later, to take part in the UK finals, not knowing what we were going to face, and then for the boys to come third. And that was just something that was really pleasing. But what was really nice about that was just the amount of support we got from our church, from families in the BB, but other companies sending me messages, just wishing us all the best. And it just really sort of hit home that so many times you think of BB just being your church or your BB company on its own, but just a number of companies that were coming in behind us and wanting us.
You're part of a bigger organisation, not just your own.
And that really came to the fore with us taking part in the final.
Fantastic.
I suppose another highlight was I became captain just coming out of COVID.
Okay.
And just we were trying to get sorted out for what BB was going to be like. We're not too sure what the world was going to be like.
You wouldn't want to go back.
But even what BB was going to be like. And so I just remember planning and putting in place how we were going to deal with different things would happen with COVID. And I remember just coming up to our first night and just being very worried and being anxious about it, just thinking, is BB
not knowing?
Is BB ever going to be the same?
Yeah.
It's my first night as captain, and I was thinking, am I up to this task? How's it going to go? Then what am I going to do if we get a phone call that somebody's come down with COVID?
Oh, I know.
And I just remember going through that night, and at 10 o'clock at night, standing outside the church, and every room had been used that night in the church. Every light was on. The boys had left that night, haven't had a good night. I just got this real sense of peace and calm.
Yeah.
That it's not about me, it's about God.
Absolutely.
And God is in control.
Yeah.
I just remember that first night just standing outside church that night thinking, something's great's going to happen here, and that God is in control.
Yeah.
So that's a real highlight. And then another highlight is, I think there's something special about enrolment services.
Okay.
As captain standing at the front of the church with your officers beside you, with the company sitting behind you, with the family and friends of church.
Yeah.
I think it's just a great night because you're making your promises for that year.
Yeah.
The church is supporting you, the boys are making your promises, and you're standing there up front with the guys who are going to be working with you all year.
Yeah.
And I just think it's just an incredible night, and it sets you up for the year.
Yeah.
So I couldn't say one highlight, but I just think there's just a number
There's just lots.
lots of different things that sort of make it all
and
worthwhile.
That's lovely. Just even you said like God is in control, because I think that's what BB is all about. Raising Christ-like, generations of Christ-like men. And it's all about keeping Christ centered.
Yeah.
And that God is in control through the really good highlights. And there's maybe some things that maybe aren't just so good sometimes, and things go wrong, but that God is in control of all of those.
Just whenever Alan mentions enrolment, I think actually last week at the Parents and Prize Night as well, whenever you see boys being discharged at the age of 18.
Yeah.
How many were discharged? Was it? There were 8 discharged, and at least 6 or 7 of them had started in P1.
So it's lovely just to see that journey.
That's a real thrill to actually,
through.
Know that boys have wanted to be involved from the start. And I often think at anchor boy level, it's a parent's decision to come along, and therefore relationships with parents are so important.
Yeah.
But whenever boys are 18, it's not parents' decision.
It's their
because
choice.
they want to be there, and I think that's a real highlight as well. Whenever
just to see
boys
them
make it through to the end.
Yeah, and I think even then at that age, whenever they're showing an interest in being able to go into leadership or whatever in the BB, that's again another step, isn't it? It's like it's just fantastic, brilliant. So, Karen, if someone's maybe considering volunteering at BB, how would you encourage them, or what would you say to them?
Well, I would tell them to go for it, but be aware that you don't know how long you're going to be there. That once you're in, you don't get out.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, I would tell them. I mean, it's not about having being really good at necessarily at doing things. It's about having a willingness to serve.
Yeah.
And I know certainly, like as an officer in charge of a section, I just want people in my team who are going to get stuck in, are going to be willing to build relationships with people, are going to, offer to, help out with a craft or organise a night and things like that. And, whether it's getting alongside boys whenever they're, doing their colouring in, or whether it is we were on the Belfast Battalion outing to Ganaway last Saturday there, and whether it's just spending time outside of the hall with people, there's just something very very rewarding about it. And I know it doesn't really matter how bad or busy a day I've had at school on a Monday, I go home with a smile on my face, and because something will always happen, or somebody will say something, and that just makes you feel good about the fact that you've been there. And I suppose it's as well, it's although we're providing or trying to provide a lot for the boys, it's about when you volunteer, you benefit from it so much, whether that's through the friendships that you make or the skills that you develop. I mean, I know that BB and being a leader in BB from an early age has helped me in my job interviews and in my teaching and in my ability to cope with all of those things as well. So it's not just about the skills that we're trying to develop in the boys, but it's about the things that we do as well, and just being part of that supportive community and working alongside people that perhaps you wouldn't otherwise come across. And I know certainly church on a Sunday is a very busy place. It might only be once every few weeks you even say hello to certain people, but you know that you're going to see them on a Monday night. And being part of that whole friendship and supportive
friendship as well, isn't it? And then, as you say, like even in the wider sort of your Belfast Battalion, and then also another wider, when you've did nationals and things, and you're getting to friendships with other. And
I think it's just really rewarding to see the difference that you're making to people. Absolutely. And I can think of people who perhaps, had a shaky start in Anchor Boys, maybe because they were nervous, or maybe because, they were found it more difficult to fit in, and yet, seeing them getting awards at an awards night or things like that,
It's just so
it's just really rewarding, and therefore, if anybody's thinking about volunteering, I absolutely would advocate that they should. Yeah,
go for it.
Yeah,
fantastic. And Alan, what has God taught you through your leadership in BB? Can you think of anything specific?
I think it's really simple. Have good godly people around you.
Yeah,
I know that we are really blessed with a great and talented officer team. People who lead their sections really well, who are very gifted when it comes to technology, very gifted when it comes to using social media, when it comes to leading Bible studies, organising craft, looking after badge classes. We just, and I suppose probably the most important thing, just getting alongside the boys and caring for them. That as a captain, I'm only as strong or as good as the good people that I have around me. And I said we're really blessed with that, and officers who are just willing to give up their time, that when we need to ask them to go out to an event or do something, they do it.
They're willing.
And one of the really nice things would be we would have a number of big events during the year, and our officers just don't need to be told. They just go and do things. Or if they see a problem, or they see something that needs done, they're not looking for direction from me. They just go and do it. And sometimes it's just nice from my position just to take a step back and just see what our officers are doing without being told. They're just doing it off their own bat, and it's just lovely to see. I suppose the second thing is, it's just to rely upon God. Since I've become captain, I've been pushed out of my comfort zone, where I've had to do things that I wouldn't ordinarily volunteer to do. And so because of the position, I've had to step up to the mark. But I've done that because I feel as if I'm relying on God, and trusting in God. And so they're two very, very valuable lessons that I've learned, and and continue to learn.
It is a continuation. I think it's that relying on God. That's my favourite sort of Bible verse would be Philippians 4:13, that you can do all things through Christ. And I've sort of learned that through my whole life, that sometimes we try ourselves and fail, but with God's strength, with God's help, we can do.
Definitely.
Yeah, which is great. Okay, there's one question we ask all of our guests that come in. What advice do you wish you had been given when you were younger? Let's start with you, Karen. And anything you can think of?
Whenever I was thinking about this, I was thinking it's probably I was given this advice, but I maybe just didn't listen to it as much. And I think that's just to really to trust and to have faith. And I guess whenever you sometimes look back, that you can see God's hand in things. And I think whenever I was younger, we all have an idea of what we think life is going to look like. And I suppose if you hit these milestones and you think, you have in your head what you will be doing at those various points in time. And I had a big milestone birthday recently. And as I think back, if my younger self thought, what would my life be the way it is now? No, it wouldn't. And it is different. And, at times that's been hard. And I think, but whenever you look back, you see God's plan and things, and you can see that you're in the right place, you're doing the right things, and that perhaps if life had gone the way I planned or the way other people plan, I wouldn't still be in Anchor Boys, I wouldn't still be doing other things. And so I guess that's something that maybe when you're in your 20s you worry about, and I wish I'd had more faith and trust. Not that I didn't. I did have faith and trust, but to live it out in a real way, and just to when you look back, you can see. And I guess that makes facing future things much easier, knowing that God's looked after me this far and will continue to do so.
I know, and sometimes when you're going through things, you just can't see God's hand on it, but it's when you're sort of ahead of it and look back, you can see how God just
and I think when you're younger you don't appreciate that perhaps as much as you get older, and I think that's something that I wish I had just had a stronger trust and faith in.
That God is in control. Trust. Thanks, Karen and Alan.
As you might guess from my other answers, I find it hard to just keep it down to one piece of advice.
Oh, absolutely.
But I had 2 or 3 pieces of advice, but seeing the question said one piece.
No,
I thought,
go ahead.
I thought I would keep it down to one piece of advice. I suppose I would say, don't be afraid to ask people. I'm naturally somebody who finds it hard to ask people to do things.
Okay.
And I think back over my Christian life, And I wish that I had asked people to go along the church events or go along to different Christian things. And I've just encouraged people to go out, to step out, and to ask people to do things. And while I was thinking about it, I started BB because a friend asked me.
Asked you to go,
I became an officer in a BB because I was asked two or three times to be an officer. And I would just encourage people to go out and ask. I was just thinking, for the boys here in BB, they've got the perfect opportunity to go out and ask their friends to come along. Or you read or you hear interviews of people who became Christians because one person asked them to go to an event. And I was thinking, just even for other captains or other officers, don't be afraid to go and ask that person in church on Sunday, or ask that person for coffee, to go then and ask them to come and part of BB, because they might say no at that time. And I know when I was asked the first or second time, that it just wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right time. But just to keep asking, and again, it might not be for some people the most natural thing, but all somebody can say is say no.
Say no, yeah.
It's
just having the courage to ask.
Yeah, and you never know where it might go. So that would be my one piece of advice.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us today. Thank you for listening. Thank you to all of our BB leaders who give up their time each week. We have two sitting in front of us here, and lots of BB leaders give up so much time, and they're so dedicated. And thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the BBNI podcast. Subscribe to us on wherever you get your podcasts. We look forward to joining with you next time.